question that you didn't get to submit.
Oh goodness, it's not nearly as long as that. It's struggling with the temptation of not wanting to have any more kids because NFP is hard. But that's where I'm at right now because I'm huge pregnant and I'm tired of it. But I've always wanted a huge family, always been very passionate about NFP. So I'm sure that there are some people in this room who have at least felt a fleeting temptation to be like, NFP is terrible, I'm over it. How did you get past that and trust that you can continue NFP for the rest of your, what's the word, childbearing years? What?
I got it as you just had kids.
Well, yeah. Well, I have hyperfertility. Well, but I get pregnant too fast. That's the problem. My kid, and against many doctors' advice. So, and I've tried so carefully. And it's not a matter of, I don't know how to use NFP or not using it right or anything. It's just hyperfertility makes it more difficult to use NFP. So it's like, well, how do you basically just like trust that this will be okay? Because right now I'm like, I don't ever want to get pregnant again, even though I want more kids. So clearly that doesn't make sense.
But like, giving your body time to heal. Like, I definitely have had times where I'm like, I cannot get pregnant right now because I've had some like really, really hard pregnancies, and then it's like I cannot get pregnant right now because I will not survive it. Mm-hmm. And so I got this watch. I don't remember which app. It's one of the newer Apple watches, and it has made. Like, it's because we were doing the like symptothermal method, and then I was also like around the time I would be ovulating, I was also doing the little pee strips, and this has made it so much easier, and like the AI that's like built into the Apple app is like very, very good. It like matches with the Fertility Friend app that I was like logging in all of my temps into, and like. I really love it. That's like been very, very helpful for me. But then, like, until just recently, I was like, I am
sorry, Michelle.
Completely not having kids. I was like, man, I really hope that I mean, I don't know. There's a little bit of like sadness there too, because I'm like, man, I really love having like small babies. But when Henry was born, I was like. I kind of, I mean, God's plan and all that, but like, kind of hope he's the last one. And
that's what I thought about number 7.
But now at this point, like Henry's like 2 years old, and I have like, and I just keep thinking, I'm like, man, like maybe it just wouldn't be that. I mean, maybe it'll be okay. Like,
yeah.
All right. Yeah. But not.
I think that the beauty of NFP is this. If it's a very serious reason, then hopefully you can do what you said, like you really research and you can find methods to, and if it's not super serious, sometimes we allow ourselves to
right
a little bit. That is mostly my case. When it's like, I don't think my body is recovered yet. Kind of, but then I'm like, well, but it's not. It's probably fine today. Kind of. That's what I mean. So then it must not be like if I was like I'm gonna die if I get pregnant. I think I wouldn't take any chances, right?
Yeah.
So, which some people don't. I mean, some people are literally like celibate for like years because they will die if they get pregnant.
Yikes.
So no, there are other methods where it's serious, but not like you're gonna die. I would say the Marquette method, where you have the fertility monitor and you're doing like creating all the signs, but you also have a fertility monitor if it's like pretty serious. Like I know women who have had like 7 C-sections,
yeah,
so they don't really want to get pregnant again, and and so it's pretty serious. But what happens to me is like a lot of times it's our psychological capability of having a baby.
Yeah.
That somehow God works on, right? A little bit. He works on it. And I go on retreat, and then I come back from retreat, and then I get pregnant. Basically,
that's what I need. I go on a retreat.
Because then you're like, God really is calling me to be open to life. And why am I be like, am I really that overwhelmed? You know, like, and is one more kid, you know, I'm like, really, it's like, I'm already overwhelmed.
Yeah, you want to have enough time or
Yes,
money.
I mean, I really don't think it's gonna change that much. I mean, yeah. So the hard thing is when you get older and your body starts breaking down more. So I'm 43 now, and then you have older kids that are going off to college, and your mind is like split into two realms.
Yeah.
And that's where like you have where you're like, I can't do this little thing anymore because I have other things I have to do, and that's where I think you start having to make decisions.
No, I mean, I don't know. It's all hard. It's just hard in different ways. Like for the older kids versus the babies. Like it's just because that, you know, when Henry was born, Aiden was in college, and like it's just yeah, it's all hard in different ways.
Basically, God just keeps asking you for more. Real talk.
You can't tell him
And
no.
then you just keep giving more. It's just you're always like, well, I guess I could give a little bit more.
I'd like to share just, so we have 3 children, but we have 8 in heaven, so we've been pregnant a lot. But I've also dealt with cancer twice personally. And so when you're finding out, like, if you have to go through chemo, or if you have to have brain surgery to remove a tumor, you cannot get pregnant because your children who are alive need you and your husband needs you to find that out. And so twice we've had a period of like very intense abstinence. And my husband, who after one of them at our old church, we used to be one of the NFP couples because we have this like unique, you know, story of lots of babies, not a lot of children, and this abstinence period, he will say that it's in the abstinence that the intimacy within the marriage actually grows deeper. So don't give up on NFP because your marriage will be so much richer for having, like, if your body needs to heal and God and your doctors are saying your body needs to heal, maybe you slip up and you have another kid and praise God and it sucks, I'm sorry, but like,
oopsie, beautiful baby.
but if you really need to, and whichever, if it's Marquette or whatever, or you can even, if it's really intense, you can go and get blood work every month to find out if you've ovulated yet or not. I mean, there are ways, and then you know, like, only in the 3rd stage of your cycle can you use, and you truly have to be careful. There are ways, but don't be afraid of it. It will be beautiful for your marriage.
Beautiful.
So lean into that.
That's beautiful, Tori.
Okay. With that, I'd like to ask if anyone has one more questions. We are quite over, and then we'll conclude. Does anybody else have a question, burning desire, question that they didn't get to submit?
I actually had a question.
Yes.
If people were here in the women's panel last time, whenever that was, do you remember any piece of advice that you got that just stuck with you? Like, what was the thing that you remember from the last women's panel?
Does anybody go?
During mass, how to get your kids to behave.
Oh.
One of them said they have mass practice when their kids were little. However, they like misbehaved during church, they had to take them out for a certain amount of time or whatever. If they were out for 5 minutes, then after mass, they knelt in the pew for 5 minutes. And they're like, no, we're doing mass practice. So that was a funny tool to use.
And that was Ashley Hotze. So her son, who goes to mass with them, does that mass practice with his kids. So it had a good result in the adult child, so much so that have you been doing it?
No, I haven't done
We have been doing mass practice. Yes.
So we did that with David, but we
So
only had to do it with David. Like David was in the oldest, and like he learned how to behave, but then I didn't really have to do that with the others. Like once they were developmentally old enough to behave, they were.
That's nice.
So I will say I didn't really think of how effective that was until you just said that. But
I have 4 toddlers right now that I'm doing. And so like we used to be like, I used to be like, you know, like drill sergeant, like no touchies, like up, you know, I need, you know, all like everybody sitting up, you know, hands like the prayer hands. And but now and my expectations for toddlers was very high, you know, even for toddlers, right with 4 of them, I'm like, we're just gonna go straight to the cry room.
And here's some toys.
Yes, but what I have done is I have like I have a very carefully cultivated mass bag that has like toys that they will only see at mass, and every single one of those toys is like devotionally adjacent at least. And so, so I have like little bead jars with like small rosaries in there because the kids love like taking the lid off the rosary, off the bead jar, and then dumping the rosary out and then picking it up and putting it back in the jar and then putting the lid back on. But like, so it's things like that.
The chalice.
Yeah, and then
candles.
yeah, and so it's like a very well cultivated mass bag, and we just go straight to the cry room, and you will see us in about 4 years.
I know we're over, but I think this one resonates with me, this question, because I think everyone wants to know, and it's an old question. And it was, what one thing do you think helped your kids choose the faith for themselves with kids that have left the house? And I wanted to ask Stephanie, because none of her kids have left the church. And she has a priest and a sister. Whereas half of my family, no, 3 of my family have left the church. So we have 5 of the 8 are still in, and then 3. So I just think it's interesting.
I think you have your oldest daughter, who is the pillar of your family, and she puts everybody in line.
You think that's what happened? No. So everything rests on Catherine now? My 11-year-old.
But it didn't hurt. I mean, they used to joke about her being, they're more scared of her than they were of me. I don't know what else to tell you.
Well, I don't know. I just know that I've read a study once that said that in families that the children did not leave the faith, the one
It's the dad's fault.
actually that is it, is that the one constant that they found in, there was like 5. I can't remember the 5. It was like family dinner, service. But one of the things was that the dad is very what's the word? Like, it's obvious that the dad practices his faith. So if the dad is the leader, the spiritual,
And actually, that's something that
not the follower, so he doesn't.
Sister would say is that she would watch him do the breviary.
Right. So if the dad is exhibiting sort of a faith life, because a lot of times you'll see the woman is like, let's go to mass, and then the dad's kind of like, okay, and they follow along, but they aren't the leader. So it's if the dad is the spiritual leader and is like the bigger example of the faith.
Can you plug the talk tomorrow night? Can anyone plug the talk tomorrow night at Western?
Oh,
Talk on that
Oh,
tomorrow night
right.
at
what's the
Western.
exact date title? It's like Raising Catholic Men or something. Raising
Men of Virtue
Men of
or
Virtue.
something like that. I don't
Yeah, the
know.
headmaster at Western Academy is going to give a talk on parenting
Mhm.
and
Virtuous masculinity.
Yes, yeah, that's it.
virtuous masculinity. So, and I think it's at 7:15.
I don't know. My husband's going. I'm not because I couldn't get a babysitter. But if you want to send your husband tomorrow night because you're here tonight, it'd be good.
I can
Yeah.
send the link on the group.
Yes, please do.
It's at 7:30.
He's a
Talking
very
Q&A
good speaker.
7:30, 8:15, 1 inches.
He'll probably tell you not to give your kids cell phones. He always says that.
Good advice.
Yeah, but yeah, he'll give the talk, and then there'll be like a little bit of social time afterwards. I think it'll probably be in the barn. I guess if you've never been to Western, or the big barn.
So, like, if your kid, so like my college age kid right now is not going to mass, okay, and like that is like disheartening. But then I look at like the choices that he's making, like the girl that he is dating, she is very like she also, so one of the biggest fights I have ever seen them have, and the most sorry I have ever seen this kid be, is when he did not go to Christmas Eve mass. I mean, she made him more sorry than anything I could have ever have done. And so like I was sad that he didn't go to Christmas Eve mass, but like when he said he wasn't going, I was like, okay, well, that's fine, and I didn't make a big deal about it, but not making a big deal about it. I feel like we have very clearly like left the door open for him to come back. And so, he's dating this very Catholic girl who's like from a big family, who homeschooled her, she was homeschooled, and he picked not one but 2 Catholic colleges to attend. And so, that like even if they do look like they're starting to like fall away a little bit, I feel like, by not pushing, we're like, I don't know.
Well, sometimes you have to pray for somebody else to come into their life,
Yeah.
right? Because obviously it's not you, it's somebody else, like this girl told.
Yeah.
Pray for somebody else to come into their life.
She is a good girl.
Yeah,
I
she
like her a
is.
lot, and I have told Aiden, don't mess up. We like her.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She is. And they're really sweet together.
Stephanie, thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
I mean, Colleen, thank you for bringing that up. Thanks, Stephanie. Is there anything else that has come to your mind in the last hour and a half that you haven't shared, that you would like to share? And if there isn't, I'd ask you to say what you wish you spent more time doing as a family. I want to go to each of you. Stephanie, we'll start with you.
There's always so much that one could have done better and have done more of. I wish I was a better, a more saintly person. I wish I prayed more. I wish I was more sincere. I wish I was more. I'm not sure where to go with that.
What is it, family? Was there anything like activity?
Or
How
something
you
that
spend
you
your
did
time.
that was like, this was good that we spent our time doing. This was key to our family.
Well, one of the great things I think probably has a bearing on keeping kids in the faith, but we homeschooled, so that was a great advantage. So we did the night prayers that Isaac does with his family, but we also had the benefit of being able to do morning prayers, and the morning prayers were part of the school day, and they involved, as the kids got older, reading from the lectionary, the daily mass readings, and then discussing them.